Hey guys, welcome back here to the Collector's Table. My name is Adam, and we are here at StatueCon in St. Joseph, Michigan. I'm here with Anthony Mestas. Did I say that last name right?
Mestas.
Mestas, I'm sorry. Anthony Mestas, and he is going to go through some of the sideshow pieces. Now, for you guys that don't know who Anthony is, Anthony, you want to tell yourself?
I'm a project manager at Sideshow Collectables. Been there for 20 years. Used to run the paint department. Started in the paint department and worked my way into project managing.
Okay,
yeah.
So basically oversight on a lot of different projects. It's going to be cool to get his insight. So let's go ahead and get started.
Awesome.
All right, Anthony, let's check out what we got here.
All right.
We'll start with some of Star Wars pieces.
Yeah,
what do we
sure,
got,
let's do it. This is the life-size C-3PO piece. What more is there to say about this other than it is C-3PO? It's a replica of everybody's favorite, robot from original Star Wars. And of course he has his companion R2-D2, which is also life-size.
Yeah, these are a little bit older, but they hold up really well, man.
These are older, and actually this was a second version that we did where we tightened it up a little bit from our first initial one, cleaned up the dome and just had the tooling done a little bit tighter because it was such a popular piece. Hey, we were able to go ahead and let's do a second run.
Yeah. Here, let's keep working our way around, and we'll just work our way around the crowd here and see what we got.
We could go down here where it's
yeah, man. So this is the OG Batman, right?
Yep. Got to fix it. He's kind of not keyed in there. Yeah, this is an old school piece that we had done. This was pre-digital. This was all sculpted traditionally back in the day.
Very nice, man. And
yeah.
I think there's a little mixed media right there too, right?
Yep. And if you notice, there's a pattern on that. All of that is a printed pattern that we had to kind of, R&D, and you see the shading on it. That's all within the print on the fabric. So it's just not lighting that's hitting that. That's not ambient light. If you look at it, that's actually shaded in the fabric to match, to match the muscles.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never even noticed.
I don't think anybody really gets what goes into the cut and sew. I know there's some people that are torn between cut and sew and sculpt, and
they usually reference it like, hey man, it's a cheaper thing. I don't know, I don't want mixed
media.
The funny
thing is, it's not a cheaper thing.
Really?
Everybody thinks it is, and it's definitely not, because the craftsmanship and the work that goes into doing the cut and sew, I mean, we have to pattern and sew in little hems, and then that has to get replicated overseas. If you were ever to tear down the patterns, one arm might be longer than the other, the seam line might be higher than the other, because it has to conform to the figure.
Yeah.
If we just dressed it like a regular suit, it would look like he was wearing, his dad's clothing. It would just be baggy, hanging off,
oversized
sloppy,
for sure, right?
Whatever.
We got a little bit of a Court of the Dead piece up here, huh?
Yeah, this is our own IP, a little bit more creative and storytelling. This is, a line that comes from our creative director, Tom Gilland. This is, he's a big, D&D fan and fantasy and horror. Yeah. So this is something he's been conjuring up in his head for quite some time.
And these pieces are pretty affordable too.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay any licensing fees on them, right? Because it's all your IP.
And we have the ability to push the limits visually, and where some licensors will be like, that's too gory or too revealing or whatever it may be. But balls in our court, we're able to do whatever we want. And if you've been paying attention, I think today or yesterday, they just did an announcement of a new Court of the Dead piece that's going to be coming up.
Oh, nice.
So they did a visual and they announced, what little I've seen this morning. People are like, what? Is this real? People are thinking somebody made a fake announcement because they haven't heard anything for so long.
Yeah, Court of the Dead, excellent price point, cool stuff. But we'll keep it moving here because we know we got a lot to cover, but we got the Gladiator Hulk. This is a premium format or quarter scale?
It's quarter scale, yep. This one, I mean, what's more to say about that? I mean, he's full action.
Yeah, look at the indentations from his fingers going into the aliens.
And being being a painter, I think this came out great. I mean, the detail in the base and the negative color, so you get the light color in the cracks, what gives it that old kind of chalky vibe with the darker highlights on the wrinkles. That's something that really makes the piece pop. Most people would just go and put a dark wash on it, and it wouldn't have the same effect. But
very nice, very well done. Here's another OG piece. We got the Green Goblin on the glider.
Yep. And I think he came out great. I mean, this is an older one. I think my first piece that I painted at Sideshow was our first Green Goblin, where he's on the glider, and this is kind of an evolution, you know, I don't know, what was it, 15 years later, where we ramped him up, and he became a fan favorite as well.
That is a mean portrait too, man. I've always said Sideshow's always done a fantastic job with portraits.
Yeah, thank you.
But,
I feel the same. It's definitely a fan favorite.
Yep, a Spider-Man piece. This came in 2 different variations, I think, right? It was the symbiote Spider-Man, and then you got the traditional Spider-Man with the kind of McFarlane eyes, right?
Yep, exactly.
Over here we got the Venom.
Yep.
A lot of OG pieces here. I like, you know, we tend to forget about these pieces sometimes.
I tend to forget about them. They've been around for so long.
But they're so good still, you know?
I mean, there's always a constant influx of projects and stuff that we're working on, and I mean, we're working on stuff that the customers aren't going to see for a year and a half from now, whatever it may be. You know, some of our line lists even dip into 2 years from now that we're already developing. You know, because we have to plan. Most people think it's just like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. It's like there's a massive amount of planning that goes into, into the process on the front end. There has to be, or we would never be able to
get where you're at.
To keep going.
Yeah.
Mandalorian. This was done with with Legacy Studio, who actually Legacy is the one that they did the actual suit for the show. So this is all taken from their molds, and a really cool thing. If you look at this, it looks like real fabric, real cut and sew, because on the master it was. All of this was. Oh, so this is sculpted. Yeah, man. I thought this was. Wow. Well, here's the thing. It's not sculpted. It's not cut and sew. But what they did is they did the costuming in fabric, stitched it on the original one, and then what they do is they basically lock it down with resin and various materials, and then mold it. So they're molding the actual fabric. They're not sculpting it. So that's why you get like all the weird wrinkles and hems and seams and everything, and it looks like real fabric because it's molded off of real fabric and leather. Very cool. And a little popular piece, the Grogu, baby Grogu. Yep, this is one of our best sellers of all time, actually. Really? Yep. Out of the 30 years of Sideshow, people went nuts. He's even got a little bit of hair on the. Yeah, little punched hair. And once again, this is done with Legacy, so this was taken exactly from the molds. Legacy, the same process that they used in the movie to do the eyes, where they're acrylic, and we have a very if we had a light, you could shine a light behind the ear and you get that translucency through the material. The fabric's patterned off the original costume that was used. All right, guys, we're not going to cover every single piece, guys. We're going to just touch on some stuff that he wants to talk about. We're going to jump over to this premium format Penguin. I know this is a little bit of a newer piece. This thing is wicked, man. All the way down from the Penguin underneath the sewage water. This piece. This is one of my favorites. Man, I mean, you guys stepped it up a notch with the detail in the face. Let's see, what do they do? Look, they didn't even, this goes right here. So how much work was this one right here, man? Is this a big project for you guys? Yeah, I mean, it has, the actual cut and sew. The thing that I love about this is we went in the design and did like a split environment. So the water's clear, and then you're able to see underneath, which is a really cool element. So you see the penguins diving, and if you look towards the back, you can see his foot underwater. So it gives your eye. Oh, really? Yeah, you could. I didn't even know that. Yeah, you could see. Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's a nice touch. And you can see the penguin's foot. Look at that. You can see his foot. You can so see it really adds that extra dimension. Right through the water. And if you lit it, the tinted water would throw, a dappled lighting effect on here, just like real water. So if it's lit right, you could really get a dramatic. So you guys think about that when you're creating these things. You think about how people are going to display them and stuff like that. Yeah, and also, when we paint it, we're painting it, a little bit darker. We're adding greener highlights down here to push that effect even more. Some people don't quite get it, and they go, "Wow, why is the color doesn't match?" There's a it would be lighter up here and darker here underwater. You know, so. So what other stuff do we got over here, man? Well, we have a continuation with our Star Wars line. So yeah, this is part of the Mythos line? Yes, yep. And I know Yoda is a little bit of the newer one. Yeah, we kind of this is Mythos, but he's kind of based off of the CGI version. We kind of were looking, but we also, he had another head where he had a top knot, like a samurai top knot. That was exclusive. Yep, I remember. Where he was a little bit more samurai looking, and looks like he's like yeah, he's just kind of, flying off, jumping through, like some spaceship rubble, mid-battle, using the force to... Very determined in his face. Go whoop on somebody. Yeah.
Looks like we're missing a cape on this one.
Yeah,
but
I was like, where's the cape on this?
Still looks pretty cool. This is the Dr. Doom, right?
Yeah. This is when he gets up in the morning and he has yet to.
He hasn't donned his cape
stretch
yet.
out and do his exercise and get his cape, get all dressed. But yeah, this is a great piece.
This looks like real metal, man.
I think Daniel Bell, who sculpted, is right, in the background there. But
he's over there doing an interview. You got Daniel Bell, Fatal the Collector, over there interviewing those guys.
Yeah, he was responsible for this. Great piece. Crow's always a fan favorite.
Yeah.
It came out really great.
I think they're actually coming out with another Crow movie, too.
Yeah, but the look is very different. It's more of a modern kind of
I heard.
take. I don't know.
Is this mixed media right here?
Yep.
Mixed media?
Yep. Wired. So
it's funny that I like the fact that you actually explained more about the mixed media and how people say, oh, it's kind of cheaper effect, but now you actually said no, it's
not.
It's still hard to do.
I mean, you figure you have individual buttons sewn on. You have a lining just like in a regular coat. All of these seams and everything, and you have to get the wire in it, which allows for posing. And I think what turns some people off is that they want to just open it up and display it.
Yeah.
They don't want to sit there
and
fudge
with
it.
it.
But the funny thing is there are people
some
that
people
love
to
do it.
Some people like it,
because then you could get it to do exactly. You want it to blow this way. You want it to open this way. It gives you options to do it. And there's no harm, no foul. You can do whatever you want.
What we'll do is, just because these guys are interviewing, we're gonna jump over and see if we can talk about some of the other stuff. I'll follow you. Yeah.
All right. That's
maybe. Hey, what about the Vixen line? You want to talk about the Vixens down there?
We can do that. I think they have one, right? They only have one.
Yeah, I think they only got one Vixen here, but let's check this one out. Man.
Yeah, that's Mr. Sin.
This is cool.
This thing came out awesome. And this is from the mind of Will Harbottle, who is one of our lead senior sculptors. And it's his take on kind of a pulpy type character, like from the 60s,
Yeah, they pulled it off. Yeah.
Total, it has a storyline where...
Kind of a retro modern look, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It has that kind of 007 kind of
with
vibe.
The pistol and the pose. Yep.
If you look
you got like this forced perspective.
Yeah. And if this was lit up, this piece lights up here.
I mean, like
glows
on
inside.
camera right here, it looks like it goes back and up. Yeah, and then when you actually look at it, right?
But it's not that deep.
Look at it from the side. It's actually almost flat. Yeah. Like it's.
Well, the funny thing is, I've seen people on podcasts go like, "I'd love to get that piece, but I don't have the room for it."
Because it goes.
And I'm like,
they think it goes deep.
It's not that. It's not. What are they talking about? It's not that big, because I don't think anybody realizes. It's all Trump Lloyd. It's full in the eye. Kat Sapine
and
did a great
her
job.
clothing back here. This looks like it's mixed media too, and it's not. It's all fully sculpted.
Yep.
It looks like.
Yeah, it is.
And
completely.
the designs are crazy back here.
Yep.
Man.
And Will designed all of that and sketched it out and then incorporated it into the sculpture itself.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I really, and again, these female portraits, I cannot rag on them enough. You know what I mean? They're they always come out, and it's very risque, but not in a bad way.
Tasteful. Yeah, it's like she's in her underwear, but
sexy.
it's like a bikini. It's exactly.
It's sexy, yeah. I like this over here too. You can see
and that lights up in there if it was plugged in, and if you see, some people are like, I think they call it like overspray or whatever, but it's shading and highlight, and you have to do it to push the look. If she's supposed to be in a dark cave, candle lit.
Trying to set the right mood.
If you were just to paint that regular, you wouldn't get that striking effect and that depth. It really
very
is pushing.
True. Like on the camera, it looks a little bit lighter, but like when you display this the way it's supposed to be displayed, you want the lighting right so you can get the full effect of the statue.
It's just like a 2D painting. You have to paint it up and push it.
My favorite part is probably this forced perspective that looks like it's going back, man. It's crazy. Like even if you see it on the camera here,
it looks like
it's going back, and it's just crazy that it's flat when you look at it from the side. But how about this this Batman on bike? Yeah,
that was quite the piece.
I'll tell you what a couple people were saying about this before we get too deep into it. Now, a couple people were saying, hey, the bike looks a little small, right? It looks a little small in proportion to his body. But before you jump on us, I know this actually, when I see it in real life, it's not that small.
No.
And I was one of the biggest critiques of this. I was like, man, it looks way too small.
I'll tell you why.
But it really doesn't.
People think that. In general, he's all black, the bike's all black, the base is all black. So what's happening is you're creating a silhouette. And when the cape comes out like this, the silhouette, you're misreading the proportions and everything.
It's deceiving, yeah.
So like if you were to do this and get rid of the cape, all of a sudden you see how tall he is and how big he is. And then, because this is covering up the back, so you're not seeing how long, but that's how life kind of works. But people see it in camera and in pictures, and you don't get that.
Guys, I can tell you, like I said, and you know, we try to be honest on this channel, and I thought the same exact thing. And now that I saw it when I got to StatueCon, I was like, man, nah, I was wrong.
Yeah, skin is light, and it is light, but
yeah, it's a little bit lighter. But
the thing is in the movie,
he's got that emo kind of look. You know what I mean?
He's super pale, like he's never seen the sun, which was intentional. You know, he's Batman. He's
right.
You know, it's not. He shouldn't look like he's out at on Miami Beach getting a tan.
He definitely. And who is Batman? He always is at night fighting crime, right? So that makes sense.
Yeah. I think the thing is it's the contrast. Everything's dark. His skin is the only thing that's light, so it's automatically you're gonna gravitate to that contrast.
Great,
but if he was darker, you know, it would definitely not tie into the character.
And you got the intricacies down here with like the parts of the bikes and the pipes and.
Right. You got the bluing of the pipes where the heat, you know, where you see the heat bluing just like on a Formula car, you know, and all the details. And this even lights up. It's plugged in, the headlights light up.
Yeah, and you could probably even pose the cape where it's like the wind is blowing.
Once again, it's fully wired. So if you really want to do it, you know, all you got to do is, you know, start working
play with it a little bit, and then you can make it look like just like that alone makes it look cool.
Yeah.
Oh, these are OG pieces right here. Now this is the Sabretooth?
Yep, Sabretooth.
And this looks like it's all his whole...
it's fabric. And this is an old one. And
this is OG.
This was, if I remember right, sculpted traditionally. I think Martin Canales sculpted that one.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And then you got the Emma Frost. You know, this was another piece that I was like, I don't really dig it. People were kind of talking about the eyes.
It's a tough one when you see in photos.
But I'm looking at the eye straight on right here, guys. It looks fine. It looks fine, right? And it's hard. You know, it's hard to determine it through pictures sometimes.
Especially through like cell phones and everything. If you, if somebody's taken a photo and it's too far on the edge of the frame, it starts distorting. And then if it distorts, the eyes will pinch or whatever it may be.
This is an old school Huntress statue.
Yeah. Yep. They're double crossbows. That is an old one. I mean, that's like I vaguely remember that one.
Yeah,
you know,
it's cool.
Seeing it now, I'm like, oh yeah.
And a lot of us are always looking at like, what's the newest stuff? What's the newest stuff? But you know, some of us want to see these OG pieces, man.
And sometimes they pop up and people don't even know about them.
Right.
You know, they're long gone, and they're like, wait, who did this? When did it come out?
Yeah.
You know,
and then you got a Power Girl over here.
I like this one.
I really like this one.
And I'm not even a big fan of the character, but I think it just. I mean, look at the face on that thing, you know, and the painting and everything. I mean, the subtlety of the makeup, because she shouldn't have like big glammed up makeup, so you have to be really subtle, and it's in the eyes and the way they're shaded. You know, the lips don't have bright makeup on them or anything. It's a very natural look.
Now this was, we talked about this a little bit in my other walkthroughs, guys, but I just want to get Anthony's perspectives on all this and kind of the background on all this stuff. But you got the Dark Knight.
Yeah, everybody's familiar with this, you know, based off of the comic.
Man,
cover.
This one did really well for you guys, right?
It did, which you know, we were wondering, because it's such a hard composition to try to pull off. You know, in the comic, it's just him silhouetted and the lightning bolt, and it's like, how do you do that? You can't float him, and you know, how big are you going to make the lightning bolt? And even when it came in, we were second guessing. We were kind of like,
how are we going to do this? How are we going to have him float?
You know, especially before it's painted or anything. And we're just like, but once we got it painted, once we added the light effect, it was like, okay, you know, and this thing is displayed in our lobby, and so I see it every day with the light on, and I'm like, I think it's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, this is an awesome piece. Like, I really like his, you know, the little damage he's got to his body, battle damage.
And if you're familiar with him in that comic, that's how he was.
Let's see this thing from the side. We were showing it on the other walkthrough, but yeah, you can see it on the side right there. But this is really the way to. Yeah. This is really the way that you want to see it.
That's what everybody sees. That silhouette. That, you know, from the comic.
We got the Red Hulk. Now this is a sample piece.
Yeah, I think what we sent was one of the counter samples that we get from, you know, when we do a piece, when it goes to production, they go to copy it, they send us back a copy, we look it over to see if it, you know, if it's dialed in properly, and then we sign off on it. And I think this is one of the ones that we were like, okay, we're good to go with this. So this is a factory painted piece. This isn't necessarily
nice. Yeah, guys, this is coming pretty soon. I know the pre-order's already up. And you got a couple different variations of this, I believe.
We actually have 4. And, you know, it was one of the things we wanted to try. You know, there's so many people that are fans of the Hulk that we were like, let's give them options. But, you know, we don't want to go and make, you know, 4 new versions of the Hulk. I mean, that would be super pricey.
Yeah.
You know, you're really pushing it to see, you know, are the fans going to gravitate to it? It makes more sense. Well, okay, we'll do some people are like, oh, that's lazy. And it's like, it's kind of, it's business. It's smart business. You don't want to go and do that. So
yeah, it's got to be a happy balance of trying to make collectors happy.
1,000%.
You know, at the end of the day, it is about making money.
And how far do you want to take the risk of doing 2 giant Hulks?
Yeah.
So, you know, we swapped out. We did the different heads. You know, there's 2 green versions. There's the red and the gray.
But I've also heard some collectors they're going to get all 4 of them.
I've heard that as well.
Yeah, big time Hulk collectors, they want to get all 4 of them. Yeah.
And that was our hope. You know, if you're hardcore, you know, some of the people want to get them. Some of the people want to get them, repaint them, change the colors to their favorite one. No harm, no foul. They, you know, that's their, you know, they pay for it. That's
their statue.
Yeah, it's their prerogative. You know, so
again with the portrait.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
One thing is for sure, I know this statue, another OG statue, but this guy's really put you on the mark, right?
That's a fan favorite. Which
man, this one sold out quick too, right?
Yeah. Internally, we were like, you know, when we were working on it, we were like, man, that piece is big, and are people going to gravitate to this? But for some reason, you know, they love the sitting and throwing things, and I think that's Sideshow kind of established that years ago with the Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
One of our first pieces, and we did in a throne, and I don't know, everybody was like, Dr. Doom and throne, and then anytime after that, we did, you know, somebody did a throne piece, they refer back to Doom, or they were trying to replicate that whole vibe, and even to this day, you see all the companies, it's always like somebody's doing somebody in a throne, but this was like our second piece that we did of a character in a throne, and it went berserk. You know, it's
this is all these years later, man, and this thing is still like, again, I'm not just saying it. This thing is nice.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, you know, there's plenty of detail, and the paint, you know, speaks for itself. But I think it's our attention to detail and composition and visual storytelling. I mean, if you look at it, you know, he's grabbing the skull and he's crushing it, and, you know, he's flexed in one arm and his finger, and he's like, you know.
Now, this is one of the first premium formats that I got from Sideshow, actually, man.
Yep. And you know, I love it. I think it, you know, embodies Wolverine, but Wolverine is such a character that everybody has their favorite versions. You know, the blue or the yellow suit, the brown, what be it. You know.
You guys have done pretty good with the X-Men stuff. I know that you have.
We just recently did a very stylized, large Wolverine, the one where he's like a sand.
Just, you know, that's the one we were talking about on my channel when we did the live. That's an awesome piece. Larger piece for sure. But you also have the Weapon X.
And that just went up a couple of days ago, right? I think when we were en route to come out here, the teaser came out.
And then the Mystique. You did the Mystique too. Mystique's going to be coming out pretty soon. Yep. I also had this piece down here.
Yeah, this one came out great.
The Rogue statue. I actually like the other switch out with the portrait.
Because it has like the classic,
the 90s poofy look. Yeah. So this was with the Danger Room base.
Yep. That was Will Harbottle again.
Rogue. And then we also have this bust over here from Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn bust. Yep.
Yeah.
That was when we were like, do we do her? Do that? You know, that's a tough one, because when you do a female life-size bust, you know, how stylized are you going to be with it? Are fans going to like it? Are they not going to like it? And it did well for us, but it was still one that we were like, it's tough, because when you see it, if you look at it as a character, it works. If you're going to look at it as like a realistic female face, then of course you're going to be like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, we're going to cut it there just because they're doing some interviews behind us. We want to make sure that we're courteous to these guys back here. But we got a couple more pieces over there. They were a little bit older pieces that you guys have seen before. But, Anthony, I appreciate it, man. Thanks, brother.
Thanks.
Yeah. And it was nice having you, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Awesome.
Thanks, brother.
Yep.